Before we start today's episode, I wanted to let you know that my brand new program, Emotionally Fit, is coming out on Monday, July 22nd. This program helps you to reduce physical pain and chronic symptoms by teaching you how to manage, express, and release your emotions in a healthy way. If you have chronic pain or symptoms that have not gone away from using different medical treatments, it's time to look into something different called TMS. This is a condition where the chronic sensations are not coming from any problems with your body, but actually from your brain and nervous system dysregulation. One of the tools that will be very helpful in this case is emotional work. Even if you have been aware of TMS for a while and used all the tools such as repeating to yourself that you're safe, calming yourself down, you've stopped going to medical professionals and so on, but your sensations are still there, I'm almost positive that you have not looked into emotional work yet. And this is what this course is designed to help you with. Emotional awareness has been one of the most healing tools for me when it comes to getting relief from chronic back pain. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing the tools that have helped me with you as well. This brand new program, Emotionally Fit, comes out on July 22nd. And if you sign up before the end of the day on July 28th, so that's 1 week, you'll get a $50 off and a one-on-one bonus call with me. I'm super excited to see you in the program, and keep an eye out for the announcement on my Instagram and my emails on July 22nd. Now, let's get started with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to this new episode of A Better Way with Kirsten Kimura podcast. On this podcast, we're talking about chronic sensations and how to overcome them. The chronic sensations that do not respond to quote unquote normal, regular treatments. Let's say that you have pain in your back or your neck, or you have stomach issues, and you have tried to treat it in all kinds of medicine and stretches if it's a pain and strengthening and all these diets and supplements, but nothing has just happened. You're not feeling better. Well, then there's a good chance that what you're dealing with is something called TMS, which means that your problems are actually coming from the brain and nervous system, and there's nothing physically actually wrong with you, even though it may be very hard to believe that there's nothing physically wrong with you because these sensations and symptoms feel super, super real. I know this very well from my personal experience. But the truth is that there's nothing physically wrong with you. So this is what we're going to talk about here on this podcast. And today I want to talk even more about emotions, because I found that emotions are one of the biggest biggest cause of these chronic sensations in your body. So if you have one dominant emotion, you feel it all the time, and it's not one of the good ones that you would want to feel all the time, and you don't do anything with this emotion either, then there's a good chance that this is what's causing your symptoms and sensations. And today I want to ask you this question. Have you thought about this? What if your pain or your symptom that is chronic is actually chronic frustration? Okay, think about it. What if your chronic pain or chronic symptom sensation is actually chronic frustration? So that means that what you're feeling in the body is the emotion. And I know that it can sound totally, what the heck are you talking about? I'm having real pain. I know you're having real pain, right? I know this very well from personal experience, like I said. But it doesn't mean that it has a real physical cause. Doesn't mean that there's problem in the tissue. Nothing's probably broken. Nothing is probably like pulled or torn or some kind of imbalance or whatever the things are that people are talking about. It can easily be that this is your chronic emotion, okay? Emotions are a big cause of chronic pain and symptoms, and they start manifesting in your body. Absolutely. And this is such an important thing. I really want you to take this in and understand this, that emotions are feelings. They're feelings in your physical body. So what you are feeling, the chronic problem that you're having, might be the chronic dominant emotion that you're feeling the most. And in a lot of cases, it is frustration, which is why we're talking about frustration today. So today, I want to ask you 5 questions that might help you to figure out what's going on. What is the chronic emotion? And is this causing you the problem. Okay, so the first one is this. Take a look at the time when your chronic symptom or pain started. Was there anything that was constantly frustrating you during that time? Okay, so just go back in time and think about it. And here's the deal. When you get a chronic symptom sensation, something had been emotionally brewing for a while, right? Emotionally, like the stage was set. Something was happening emotionally. There's this dominant chronic emotion that was going on. And after it had been going on for a little while, you started feeling not so good in the body. So symptoms showed up. So go back in time, think about it. What was it that was going on back then? What was the core emotion that I was feeling back then? The second question, what about now, after your sensations or symptoms or pain, after they've been there for months or years, is there anything in your life now that constantly frustrates you? Because what you're feeling right now is impacting also how your physical body is feeling. So what the emotion is that you're experiencing now, most often chronically experiencing this emotion, is also what's causing you these chronic sensations. So think about your day-to-day life right now. What is frustrating you? What is it on a regular basis? Okay, then the next question, what in your life is the main source of this chronic frustration? Okay, is it a person? Is it a relationship? Is it a work situation? Is it something else? Okay, think about what is the main source of this chronic frustration. And two more questions. The next one is this. Do you let that frustration out somehow, or do you push it down as if it doesn't exist? So another way of saying this would be, do you put on this face, this mask? Oh, everything's so perfect. Or you feel frustration internally, but you're not saying anything, you're just swallowing it. Maybe you look serious, maybe you look grumpy, but you don't say anything. You don't release this emotion, you don't work with this emotion. So could this be what's going on? And then the last question that I have, do you feel guilty for feeling frustrated and think that you shouldn't feel frustrated? For example, you feel like it makes you a bad parent if you sometimes get frustrated with your kids, or you think that you shouldn't feel frustrated about a certain life situation because other people have it way worse, right? So do you feel guilty? Do you actually you can identify, yes, I am frustrated, and then you feel guilty? No, I shouldn't, because if I feel guilty, I'm a bad parent. Or if I feel frustrated, then I'm not grateful, right? You might be telling yourself these things, which means that you're pushing the frustration down more and more and more, right? So ask yourself these questions, because I am almost sure that there's something that is making you frustrated on a regular basis. If you're having these chronic pains, sensations, symptoms going on, the stuff that hasn't gone away, there is a core emotion there. And a lot of times it is frustration. So what can you do about it? So here are some things that you can do, and as a result, you can get relief from your chronic pain and symptoms. Okay, so what can we then do? The first thing, if you are often frustrated, start naming this, start saying this out. It's almost like I'm admitting this, because it can be really hard for a lot of people to admit that they have a certain feeling or certain emotion. They feel like, oh, that's gonna make me a bad person. Like I said in this previous example, they might feel, oh, I'm a bad person for feeling frustrated about my kids. Or if I admit that I'm frustrated, that means that I'm not grateful. But then you push it down. So the first thing is really start naming it. I am frustrated or I am angry. So it's a very similar thing, right? Frustration is just like a form of anger. So start acknowledging it, which is naming it, right? And also notice if it shows up in your body somehow. If you get quiet and still, you may notice that it shows up in your body. Then just feel it. Let it be there. Like don't like go fighting and punching and pushing it away. Just feel it. Okay, this frustration right now, I feel it. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is this. You identified what is the main source of this chronic frustration in your life. Then if it's possible, eliminate the source of this chronic frustration. And of course, it's not always doable. It's not always possible. But sometimes it is. So I definitely don't want you to encourage you to do things that you haven't thought through in detail. So don't walk away from a job or a person just like because you got this idea real quick and you're gonna just, I'm out. Right? Not like that, but put some thought into it and see maybe there is a relationship or a person who really you look back and okay, this has been going on for a while. This is really frustrating. This person maybe doesn't respect me, or I don't feel that this is a good relationship for me. Maybe it's what some people say toxic, right? Maybe somebody is using a form of bullying you. So if there's something like this going on, really think, can I eliminate this source of chronic frustration? Because there are a lot of people who have cut a relationship. And again, I want to caution you, don't make this decision like in a split second. You have to think about it. But I know people who have cut ties with certain people and they have gotten a lot of healing from it because this relationship was just really, really bad for them. Right? Maybe it's a work situation. Maybe this is not the right thing for you or something like that, right? So take a look at your situation. Maybe there is a relationship that you are still holding on to, even though it is literally hurting you. And then one more thing that you can do is that if it's not possible to eliminate this source of this chronic frustration, then what you can try is changing your attitude about it, right? So that doesn't mean that you pretend that you're not frustrated. Again, this would be pushing down the emotion, and we don't want to do that. We're not doing that. But changing your attitude. So I'm going to use work as an example. So if your work is always frustrating, if you're like, oh, nothing ever works out and this didn't go well and I have to do this all over again. And if you're like really angry all the time, super frustrated, then maybe you can change your attitude that is towards more like solution oriented. And this is absolutely something that I personally have had to work on a lot, so that you don't like lose it immediately and just like stay in this like, frustrated mode, like really angry all the time. So instead, you're going to be like, oh, how can I change this problem? How can I find a solution to this problem? Can I be a little bit more patient with myself? Can I accept the fact that things are going to take time? Again, speaking from my own experience, I was always really impatient, kind of rushed, wanted to get things quickly. If something didn't work out, I would get so frustrated all the time. And really, what needs to happen here is just changing the attitude and be like, okay, this is how things are. Sometimes they take more time and sometimes they don't work out. And sometimes I have to do this over again. And this is how things are. How can I find the solution? How can I change my attitude? So this could be something that you also need to work on because then you can change your mood and it becomes a little bit more positive, becomes a bit more lighter instead of just getting frustrated and wanting to give up. You are more like resilient, right? And you grow this trait in you that is just more patient, more solution oriented instead of like, it's not going to work out. So these are the things that you can try. You can either, eliminate the source if you can, or then change your attitude. But it is important that you also acknowledge the feeling, the frustration that we talked about in today's episode. Of course, it could be another emotion too. And we're going to talk about 4 major emotions that are causing chronic sensations in my course, Emotionally Fit, which is going to be available on July 22nd. So there we're going to talk about fear, anger, shame and sadness and how to work with each one of them so that you can get relief. And also, honestly, it's not really only about like getting physical relief, feeling better in your body. It is also about like you grow as a person. You become a stronger person. You can handle more things better and you can recognize your emotions. And then when you're able to kind of move these heavy emotions, then you're going to have more room for joy and ease and lightness and love and all these things. And when you have more of these, so to speak, positive emotions, you're going to feel a lot better in your body. The pains and aches will start to reduce for sure. Because again, coming back to what's causing these symptoms and sensations, so much of it is emotions. And if you can experience more positive emotions, the ones that bring you true joy, then you're going to feel better in your body. I'm probably going to do another episode on energy and vibration, all that. But these emotions are lighter, higher vibration emotions. And when you can have more of them, experience more of them, your body will start to feel a lot better. I know this. And that's why I created this course so that we can work with these dark ones that nobody likes and pushes down so that we can bring them to light and start addressing them and get relief. Because when these things, when we know how to work with these dark and heavy ones, we have more room for the positive ones and we can start feeling the way we want to feel. So keep an eye out for this course. It is coming on July 22nd and it's called Emotional Fit, and it is designed so that we can get relief from these chronic sensations by doing emotional work. All right, this is all I have for you today. Think about it. Are your chronic symptoms and sensations actually chronic frustration? So this is your homework for this week. Think about it. And thank you for being here today. I'll see you again in the next episode. Take care.